It's a funny curiosity, isn't it? Now, can you imagine what happened if you decided to hook your house up to a bunch of balloons during the night, while some people were going to take you away from your house and go into an old person's home, and then decide to go off into unknown encounters in the sky while having a little kid following you along the way? Yeah, well, that's pretty much a little bit of the plot synopsis of Up, Pixar's latest film. Of course, later this year there'll be Toy Story 3. Hope it does 1 and 2 justice, but that's another video. Now, Up is brought to you by Pixar, who have brought us, like I've said, Toy Story 1 and 2, Finding Nemo, those three of which I think are Pixar's best films, and also 3 of my favourite animated movies of all time. You know, I mean, they've done loads of other movies since then. They've done A Bug's Life, which I thought was great, Monsters Inc., which I thought was flipping hilarious, but not fantastic. What else have they done together? They've done The Incredibles, which I wasn't too keen on. Cars, it was pretty good. I mean, I have that on DVD. You know, there's Ratatouille as well, and WALL-E. You know, both of which I thought were pretty good. Now we have Up, Pixar's latest movie. Now the plot for Up is as follows. Carl, an old man, you know, it starts off with him as a young man meeting his girlfriend. And what happens is that the first 10 minutes of the film show him, Carl and his girlfriend, later to become wife, grow up through the years, and how they've always fantasized about, you know, going up to visit new places and whatnot. But unfortunately what happens is that his wife ends up dying. So Carl becomes in a bit of a depression state at the start of the movie. Then the movie takes off, and let's just say there's some personal problems at the start of the movie, and he ends up getting recruited to take to an old folks' home. So what happens, hooks, pretty much like I've said before, hooks the house up to balloons, and then the movie begins. Now, when I first heard of this film, I laughed my head off, simply because of the title, Up. I remember talking to one of my friends before the movie came out, and we were discussing how, yeah, that's pretty much one of the funniest titles like I've ever seen in history. And we were thinking, why couldn't it be called something like Up, Up and Away, which, you know, admittedly would be a more suitable title. But then we started seeing all the trailers for this movie, and it did actually look pretty good. We saw the theatrical trailer and thought it looked hilarious, and all these critics start coming in saying, oh, it's one of the best animated movies I've seen, and one of my favourites of the year. So, you know, one typical Friday afternoon, we were free, and went to see it. In 3D, I might add. So the first thing I'm going to point off is the 3D. Now, 3D is pretty much becoming the future of cinema, if you will. And really, there's only been one film I've really seen that uses 3D properly, to be honest, and that's Avatar. But that's a later review. And don't worry, I will review that movie, because I've got a lot to catch up on. If you visit my YouTube website page, you will know about the situation regarding my account and YouTube reviews. Anyway, moving on though. So the question is this movie really worth seeing in 3D? And the answer to that really, no, not really. To be pretty honest, it doesn't really add to the movie in any form. And really, you know, 3D is meant to be like stuff flying out. It's meant to make you feel like you're there. And I felt like in the likes of The Final Destination, and this movie, maybe even in Toy Story 1 in 3D, you know, what used to add to the story? You know, it's just going to make more money by doing that, to be honest. But moving on, people, so here we go. Now, what did I think of Up? Well, let's get to the pros and cons of the film. Pros about the film. Now, I haven't done much research for the movie in regard to its actors, so I'm just going to keep this as brief as possible. The acting in this movie, voice acting, was phenomenal. Whoever voiced Carl, I think it's Essie Eisenberg, forget it. Whoever voiced Carl, I thought did a fantastic job, particularly with portraying some of the emotion of his character, feeling for him at the start of the film, and then as his character develops throughout the movie, you do get a sense of pleasure from listening to his voice and listening to his character. Whoever played the kid, I think that some people have found him a bit annoying. I mean, admittedly, I could understand why, but I thought he was hilarious, you know. And him and Carl on screen together, as the kid and Carl, you know, I thought they were just a pretty spot-on match, you know, partnership on screen. Voice acting out of the way. Just one tiny little thing about the voice acting. Pay attention to the dogs, particularly when they go in squeaky voices. That's just hilarious. Anyway, other things I liked about the film. I really did like how after the first 10 minutes of the movie, it kicks off, and once it does, it is pretty much laugh out loud non-stop until the very end. This movie is easily Pixar's funniest movie. While it's not my favourite Pixar film, it's certainly its funniest. And when the movie finished, I came out of the cinema thinking, that was fantastic. I loved it, every minute of it, for the most part. And I really did think that that was one of Pixar's funniest ever films that I will have the pleasure of viewing again, which I did in 2D. Now the 2D version's obviously better because you can see more of the colours and they're more vibrant. Anyways, but moving on. And what else I liked about the film? The pacing is pretty much spot on in this film. And I say pretty much spot on because I have an issue with the beginning. But after the first 10-15 minutes onwards to the end of the film, I thought that it was just done terrifically and really did, it didn't drag, it didn't rush. It just moved on at a perfect pace, and by the end of the film, that's a pretty steadily paced movie. The running time is not bothering me at all. It's less than 100 minutes, or roughly around that mark. It's perfect length for this movie, and you really do get drawn into it. You do seriously get drawn into the film. Now, unfortunately, we do have to talk about the flaws. And really, there wasn't that many flaws. Really, the only problem I had with this film was that a lot of people have been praising the movie for being really emotional at the beginning. To an extent, yes, I could probably see that, but I honestly, not to sound like I'm a heartless soul or something, but, I kind of found it a little bit slow. I mean, admittedly, yes, I do kind of see about the whole lifestyle, how they wanted to travel all over the world and whatnot. And I do appreciate that the filmmakers are trying to get us, to feel for each character. But, really, it was sort of affecting my enjoyment of the film. I just wish it kicked off a little bit sooner. But look, that's just really a nitpick. Other than that, there is nothing wrong with this movie. Now, I didn't think it's perfect, simply because, I don't know, it's just something about there that just didn't feel perfect. But as an animated movie and as a Pixar film, it rocked. It is easily a 4.5-star upgrade out of 5 for me, because I thought it was fantastic. I loved it. And when this comes out on DVD, which by the time this video will be on YouTube, probably be close to the release date. I think it's in around March 23rd, March 16th, I think. Anyways, this movie just so satisfied me on so many levels, and I really do recommend this film to any Pixar lovers. This is one of the funniest Pixar films I've ever seen. And pay attention to the Doug the dog. Whoever voiced him, I thought was just brilliant. Every time he came on screen, you could tell the scene was going to be funny. You really could. And I do praise the acting for that. Look, so overall, guys, this might be a little bit of a short review. I don't know. But, overall, Up is easily up there with one of... Up is up there. Blech, weird joke. Terrible. It's up there with Pixar's best movies, behind Toy Story 1 and 2 and Finding Nemo. Now, it's not the best Pixar movie in the world. Sorry. But, admittedly, it's easily in my top 10 best of 2009, and a video regarding that will come your way shortly. So that's pretty much my review of Up. 4.5 stars, fantastic movie, and I really do recommend it for anybody who is a lover of Pixar. So yeah, that's my review of Up, and I really do hope that if you see the movie, you enjoy it. So until next time, YouTube, the movie buff, Bowers, signing out.